So it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Sorry for the interruption. I'm very excited, in fact, and it's not only me, we're in fact all very excited, because we're about to present the first live demonstration of Table Connect for iPhone in front of an audience. And before we start right away, let me introduce my team to you. This is Mr. Nino Leitner, Stefan Fleig, and I'm Lucas Triebl. Together, we are the team behind Table Connect. And, oh, I forgot something. Our most important guest on stage, Table Connect. So, it's quite tensioning in here, I guess. So, let's move to the demonstration right away. What I'm gonna do now, I have my iPhone with me, and I will connect that iPhone to the table and start the app, and then let's see if we can get some magic out of this. So, let's start here. I'm connected. Then I'm gonna start the app. So here's the app. Should actually take just a few seconds until it starts. And oh, it doesn't react somehow. Nino, can you just check? Sorry, a lot of difficulties in here. So can you just check? Whoa, whoa, what's? Oh man.
Well, don't worry, that's just pyrotechnics. Well, actually, it never was supposed to work. Hope you can see us, but the truth is, it never was supposed to work. The truth is, it is all a fake. We made it all up. But yeah, this talk is not about how this table doesn't work. It's about how we created a carefully planned viral hit, got millions of views, even became YouTube #1 at some point, and then in the end somehow didn't manage to make it into a promotional tool for ourselves. But let's start at the very beginning. It all started last summer when we visited Lucas in his Salzburg office. I walked into his room in his office and saw this table, his desk, and I immediately said, wow, this looks like a giant iPhone. We looked at each other. Yeah, it was as simple as that, yeah. We looked at each other and we immediately realized we gotta use that. We have to make something out of this. 1 hour later, we already found ourselves gathered around the table, contemplating how we could do some viral video stunt. And yeah, well, as with everything Apple related, we were sure that an iPhone 100 times as big as a real iPhone would generate 100 times as much of the media interest. So why not simply claim that it is a giant iPhone? As soon as you plug in a real iPhone, all the contents of the small screen would be reflected on a giant surface. Everything you could do on the small screen would be possible on the large screen as well.
So, let's have a look at how the video was actually created. The first thing we did was to apply tracker points to the surface. And these would later serve me as a positional and perspective reference to do these special effects. And then we sat down for a few minutes to think about the correct order of touch events from launching the iPhone till reaching the gallery apps. We practiced that on a small iPhone, and then we had to reenact all those touch events on a much larger surface. So basically, we had to estimate where all those touch events would occur on a much larger table. And it looks very funny, and we've prepared a short making-of video for you to see. This is the iPhone animation, and now you see what the tracker points were needed for. And now you will see several stages of compositing to make it look real. Get the reflections back in. Of course, Arnold. And the last part was to get rid of the tracker points again. So we did around 5 takes on that day, and then it took me several months till I finally found the time to work on the special effects. And it turned out a bigger challenge than I thought, and I got really caught up in it. I've made it my personal challenge to make it absolutely believable. And with a million eyes watching, I took that challenge very, very serious. So, sorry. Besides all the technical stuff I had to deal with, rebuilding and animating the whole iPhone interface from scratch gave me the hardest time. And that's simply because I had to account for so many details, like how many milliseconds does a transition from one menu to the other last on a real iPhone? Or make sure that time and date would match on the table and on the iPhone. And it got so far that I even changed the date on the real iPhone in post-production just to make sense with the release of the final video. So, yeah. And being such a challenge, it was also one of the most fun projects I ever worked on. And that's not just because I had the chance to put my childhood heroes like Sylvester Stallone into the gallery. and I was really hoping for any reaction by Mr. Stallone. And I was watching his Twitter stream very closely during that time. But unfortunately, that never really happened. Okay, so after 40 hours plus, the video was done.
We only realized the full potential of the video when we had it in our own hands. We knew that having a giant iPhone really is a good USP for your viral hit. So were Stefan's bodybuilder images or Luca's squeaky floor in the video. And then we started out by making, that was a comment on YouTube, yeah. And then we started out by making some really bad mock-up images. So even before we released the video, they were intentionally bad. So nobody who would see that would get an idea or would believe that we would actually be able to pull off such a video that we would post later on. We also put up a very basic free blog site, really amateurish, nothing fancy, with a lot of ads and stuff. And then we even put a counter on the site, counting down to the date of the video release. And in the end, we gave it a name, Table Connect for iPhone. And then we were ready to rock and roll.
Oops. So tossing the domino actually was one of the most exciting stages of our project. We had everything set up properly and a good plan how we would attract the media, make them greedy, and finally feed them. It should heat up the air a little bit before we were ready to reveal our video. So first, we started our little website with the mock-up images on it and sent off a tip to Engadget. And it took only a few hours, and it was right in front of us. But not only on Engadget, every noteworthy news site reported the story about the giant table to touch. Then on November the 3rd, finally, we were ready to release our video. And it didn't actually go as it was expected to. Nothing happened. Then, the first comment on the video, a real shock to us. The guy obviously noticed that Stefan is switching off the iPhone with his pinky finger at the beginning of the video. You will see that right now. Watch for the red circle. They were discussing about that scene a lot, actually. So how would you react to that? The best thing was probably to stay calm. And there we were, full of tension, trying to keep calm. So it was Engadget again, finally, who picked up, a short while later, our story again, with the video included. And the moment they did that, the thing skyrocketed. Beside that, this was all real, not fake. So it was really amazing. I mean, actually, we were running a design studio, and we are always quite busy. But I tell you, we had no idea what busy means until that point. Tons of emails, inquiries for interviews, buying requests. We were actually desperately in need of a press agency overnight. So while the people discussed whether this is fake or not, we were so busy doing our first interviews via email since we couldn't reveal ourselves. So let's have a look at the domino effect we actually created. We reached the 1 million views on YouTube only within 3 days. hit the 2 million mark after on 1 week only. And beside that, we are already over the 3 million right now.
We became #1 on YouTube.
We got 1,400 newsletter subscriptions within no time.
And we're liked by over 4,000 people on Facebook in only 2 weeks' time.
We received TV and print interview inquiries from over 15 countries.
And we really had countless buying requests from companies from all over the world, even some really big corporations from the Fortune 500.
600 users were simultaneously browsing our website at that time.
We received 3,000 plus comments on our initial YouTube video.
And the discussions whether this was fake or not were not stopping. They actually kept this thing going.
There was even one guy who built a 3D model out of the table and put it up for sale. No joke.
So, and we earned this guy $15 by using this animation today.
Yeah.
Another guy put up a website and was taking orders and announcing a price for our table.
And remember, this was all still for a fictional product. And that's what we realized at this point, that really the online media are very gullible when it comes to such a popular subject such as an iPhone. For one, they need to act very quickly. They want to be the first ones to post on such a nice news event. And also, for a second, they, blogs and online media are mostly dependent on ad revenue. So, of course, the more eyeballs they get on their site, the more money they make. That's where an iPhone table comes in, because this guarantees you to give you a lot of hits. But if you plan a viral, you have to look at 3 things. Firstly, you have to have a lot of luck. You have to have an impeccable timing, and you also have to have the right connections to the media and get them at the right point. But this all doesn't really guarantee that you will toss this domino. But if there is at least one halfway reputable media source that would report on your thing, you're almost guaranteed to get an avalanche of media reports about it afterwards, like Engadget did for us.
So we made it. Excessive media coverage all over the world. But then we made our final mistake, because we asked ourselves, what's next? See, the original plan was to promote our studio, but it turned out we didn't have an exit strategy to do that. And just saying, haha, it was all a joke by LOA Design Studio would have been a really bad ending. So fueled by the sudden rush of success, we dreamt of something bigger. So the first video received so many hits, and we strongly believed that a follow-up video would be a perfect viral marketing opportunity for almost any brand. And by any brand, we actually meant Microsoft. Back then, Microsoft was about to release their first Windows Phone 7 devices, and we were pretty sure that Steve Ballmer is the man who would be in for a joke on all the iPhone fans. So via friends and friends of friends, we actually managed to send our top secret proposal to Redmond, Microsoft headquarters. At least that's what we know. And only 2 weeks later, they kindly refused. And we'd like to think that it was a very close decision, and that's why it took them so long. And the truth, I think, is that Mr. Ballmer prefers to do his own virals anyway. Does anybody know this video? Yeah, he received 4 million views for that video. So what else could we do? As you've heard before, we received a ton of buying inquiries. So we looked at each other once again and said, let's build this thing. And don't get me wrong, we really tried. We talked to hardware vendors, we talked to software companies, and for a moment it really seemed that we found the perfect partner. But on a contract stage, we found out we were wrong again. So, however, we did squeeze something out of our domino. An amazing 600 euros, which we made through AdWords on Google and on YouTube. And at least that made for a great Christmas party last year. So during those 2 weeks, we had a problem. While Microsoft was still discussing, should we work with these guys or not, the traffic was rapidly dwindling. And to keep the fire burning, we released a second video, which with much less success. And since not many people have seen it, but it's funny, we want to show it to you today.
Links, vor. Rechts. Vor, wow. Ja!
I guess you can see now where this video was instantly dubbed "Two midgets holding an iPad" by a commenter. Yeah. So after you've heard the story now, think about this for yourself. Do you actually think we had great success, or do you think we finally failed at reaching our goal? From an objective side, we probably, on the one hand, managed to become an internet phenomenon. On the other side, we failed at reaching a goal for self-promotion. So we already sat on that story for almost a year now, and we couldn't tell anybody about it. We could not share that we actually created something what quickly became one of the greatest viral hits from Austria ever.
At the top of our success, we decided not to do what we planned for in the beginning. We decided not to release the secret because we didn't have an exact plan. We hesitated, we hoped, we fantasized, and we tried a lot. But our 15 minutes of fame were gone as quickly as they came. And suddenly, the dominoes stopped falling. Well, but if you look at it, I mean, we really had a big success. We succeeded in doing something that a lot of self-proclaimed viral marketing experts are hoping for their entire lives, I think. After all, it is not only an idea worth faking, it is an idea worth spreading.
So, if you're about to create your own domino tonight, think of the famous words by Steve Jobs. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And I think we've proved to be incredibly foolish already. And now, we are hungry for our next adventure. Thank you.